But she's also like, pretty
cute.
hot. But you're evil. They're hot, evil people.
You can be hot and evil. Reach for the stars, guys. Hi, I'm Zelda Williams.
And I'm Eugene Liang. And this is Masterpiece Theater. I don't know what we're supposed to say. This is Character Conversations.
Well, we are characters.
We are quite the characters.
This is true.
We met out and about the first time?
I think so.
When was the first time we met?
Oh, don't ask me.
It was organic,
my memory
though.
is terrible.
It was organic.
Well, is
Was it a
anything in
friend's
LA really
house?
organic? But yes.
It was the most organic thing that could happen in LA.
That is a fair assessment. I have a question though.
Yeah.
So during the pandemic, is that when you started doing voice work? Because I know with cartoons especially, it can be years out. Like when did you do the voice for Nimona?
So I auditioned for Nimona in the middle of the pandemic. So it was a Zoom audition, 2 sessions with the incredible directors, Nick
Microphone
and
in a closet vibe?
Yeah, basically.
Because that's usually how they would have you do it.
Yeah.
It's like they were like taken into a space with soft things.
Yeah, but it was great to be over Zoom because I know this story is pretty well known, but I had a unique situation where as they were redesigning the character, because it's based off of N.D. Stevenson's graphic novel, my character, Ambrosius Goldenloin, was initially conceived, I know, it's kind of, that's my vibe.
I love it.
You get it.
You have a golden loin on you right now.
I actually have a golden loin. You might have to blur this. Hey, you know, it's art, it's art.
If they have to blur that, they'd have to blur a lot of our conversation.
But he was initially conceived as a white knight, essentially. So when they were redesigning him for the film version, they decided to take him in East Asian direction. And so Aiden Shigano, who did a lot of the character design work and the production design in the film, he had pitched me as a visual reference for the redesign.
Oh, cool.
Because they were like, it's a
you
very
wear
queer
these amazing
film.
outfits?
Well, said he has great hair. I've known him from watching him online, and so that's how my name initially got brought up. And after that, they said we should just audition him. Wow. So it was a pretty quick one-to-one between, I think, them doing the actual physical redesign and then casting me as well. So it was a very serendipitous experience.
That's wonderful.
Now, for you, for Korra, did they think like, who is the most fascist, domineering person we know? And they're like, Zelda Williams.
That small lady on the hill. The interesting thing about Korra, and this was years ago now, and I love working with them because I keep coming back and working with Nickelodeon because of that experience.
Yeah.
When I went in, no one had seen what Kuvira looked like yet, and they showed me a picture of her, and we actually looked a lot alike.
Yeah.
Which was alarming, given that she's a fascist dictator.
But she's also like,
pretty
pretty hot. But you're evil. They're hot, evil people.
You can be hot and evil.
But you
Reach
know what
for the stars,
But if
guys.
you're evil, you age poorly. That's the difference.
Sometimes.
So Kuvira.
I didn't know what she looked like. I had just gone in for this part with, like, again, sending in a tape from usually just like a closet space.
Yeah.
And then booked that, and then from then I just kept working with Nickelodeon. They're the only place really that I've done cartoon work with. I've done a couple video games, but how did you like Cartoon Land?
I was already a big animation fan, and so being able to have the experience of voice acting was really fulfilling.
Good.
It was really, the directors and the producers and the co-stars fostered a really great experience, so I couldn't have asked for a more wonderful introduction. But you've had a lot of experience. What brought you in there initially?
I was obviously raised around a lot of cinema. However, the first experiences I had with Dad Does an Interesting Job were animated.
Yeah.
My first thing that I can remember being like, that's Dad, and something that you have the clarity of being kind of like the cook in the kitchen vibe of it.
Yeah.
I didn't get the escapism that I think a lot of kids did because you're aware that your dad is Santa Claus, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that was like Aladdin and Fern Gully. And I loved that
Fucking
so
love
much
Fern
growing
Gully.
I love Fern Gully too.
That's the scariest tree in cinema history.
Well, also the Sexy Goop song. It's now becoming
Sexy Goop
viral
song,
again, the Sexy Toxic song.
The kids are all like rediscovering stuff
Yeah.
when we were kids.
Well, Tim Curry, how could you not love it?
Tim Curry's also
And his voice.
top tier.
But I always wanted to do it, and then it kind of fell in my lap in a really interesting way because I basically went, auditioned, got that job, and from then on have been playing a lot of villainous ladies. One villain who became a good guy. Playing villainous ladies.
That's kind of I dress like a villainous lady.
When you said yours is an anti-hero.
A bit of an anti-hero. My character is kind of in the moral gray area.
Okay.
But Nimona had a lot of really wonderful ideas about who gets to control the definition of what's wrong and right.
Oh, fair enough.
And so my character was playing on what he thought was the side of right, when really the villains that society makes are not always villains at heart.
Yeah.
They could be created in terms of who's in control.
I agree with
Very,
that.
very resonant these days. But I think both of us, although we have done voice work, are primarily focused as writers and directors.
Very director for me, but you have a book coming. What's the name?
It's called The Unders.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, so it's a queer fantasy series, so it's a duology. There'll be updates on that. But you have a film coming out.
I do. Lisa Frankenstein.
Lisa Frankenstein.
Lisa Frankenstein. It was shot last year. It comes out in February. Similarly to yours, I wanted to bring something for teens and people also up to my age and older, I'm not going to judge you if you like it and you're older, who miss movies like Beetlejuice and Death Becomes Her and the stuff that I was really inspired by growing up, that everything, at least not everything, but a lot of things right now, there has to be this sort of meta nudge to being in on the joke.
Yeah.
And I genuinely miss earnestness and silliness and a sort of unhinged dedication to the joke and the bit. Like Mel Brooks, I was always a huge fan of, and I wanted to bring a little bit of that back. So it's a little Tim Burton, Mel Brooks mashup, Death Becomes Her thing, and Diablo, who wrote the script, based it on Weird Science. So it's her female response to Weird Science.
These are all great references. Death Becomes Her is one of the top, I'd say 5 queer cult classic films.
I love
As in
it.
when anyone gets drunk, I'm always just live forever.
Well, and
Sobreviva.
The idea of repeatedly just painting layers upon layers to stay young.
What's Meryl
and
Streep's thing? She's
beautiful.
Madeline? Madeline Ashton?
Oh, and also Isabella Rossellini in just necklaces upon necklaces as a bra, as a beautiful outfit, and then just offering, that it is the kind of devil's curse thing of stay young and beautiful forever.
Live forever.
Live forever.
No, I love that. I love that angle going into your filmmaking, and I think that that's a sort of, I see a lot of that hopefully coming into this next wave of cinema.
It would be nice.
Because I think the earnestness is really important now,
Well, and I think,
It's a very cynical world.
Very cynical, it's very sarcastic. A lot of people are feeling very nihilistic, and that's great. But I went the opposite direction, and so it's a maximalist, earnest, really, really wild ride, but it's very fun. They murder a bunch of people to put him back together again, but in a very Death Becomes Her comical way.
I love that.
And it's very fun.
There's nothing wrong with swinging hard for the fences.
You absolutely should, every chance that they let you.
And not doing it in a way where you're feeling like you're making fun of yourself or the subject. I think there's something really great about honoring the truth in having the bravery of just being 100% yourself, even if it's weird, which I think you can just tell by looking at us. That's kind of our vibe.
And that is our spiel.